Greetings and blessings to all of you infinite beings made of stars out there. Thank you so much for being with me today. Thank you for joining the channel. If you're new, we're studying the lessons of A Course in Miracles, and we are in a review period. Today we're going to be doing lesson number 83. And for those of you following along on my personal journey, today is day 1 of the refeed process for my 21-day water fast. Fasted for 21 days. We'll be refeeding for 7 days, so I'll give you updates. Later this morning, I will get to have calories and electrolytes coming into my body instead of just this amazing spring water, which I am incredibly grateful for. So we'll see how that unfolds, and I'll give you an update on how that goes tomorrow in tomorrow's video. So without further ado, let's jump into the lessons for today. All right, we're going to be reviewing 2 lessons. The first one is, my only function is the one God gave me. I have no function but the one God gave me. This recognition releases me from all conflict because it means I cannot have conflicting goals. With one purpose only, I am certain what to do, what to say, and what to think. All doubt must disappear as I acknowledge that my only function is the one God gave me. More specific applications of this idea might take these forms. My perception of this does not change my function, this being some issue that you might be having. This thing does not give me a function other than the one God gave me. Let me not use this to justify a function God did not give me. I think it could also mean we might mistake function for like purpose, which also could mean whatever your career is, or maybe you have a role in your life that you feel like is the predominant defining thing about you. That also doesn't compete with the function God gave you. So remember that. All right, second lesson for review. My happiness and my function are one. All things that come from God are one. They come from oneness and must be received as one. Fulfilling my function is my happiness Fulfilling my function is my happiness because both come from the same source. And I must learn to recognize what makes me happy. If I would find happiness. Some useful forms for specific applications of this idea are, this cannot separate my happiness from my function. The oneness of my happiness and my function remains wholly unaffected by this. Nothing, including this, can justify the illusion of happiness apart from my function. So these lessons kind of bring together the idea also of forgiveness, even though it's not specifically mentioned here. In a previous lesson, we're told that forgiveness is my only function. And then forgiveness and happiness are connected together as the lessons continue. So don't forget that as sort of like, whenever you think of function and happiness, forgiveness needs to be in that little grouping as well. So your forgiveness practice should make you feel happy. And happiness is what God wants us to feel. So the meditation that I did this morning, it was actually like super quick. I had this thought in my mind last night and this morning, actually. The director of the Tanglewood Wellness Center is actually not physically here. We've been meeting with him on Zoom. We have one-on-one consultations with him every day, personally with the doctor in the room. And then he does a lecture for all of us at 11 a.m., 11 to 12 every day. So we have a lot of connection with him and individual, time with him, but he's not physically here. So anyway, he always asks us, do you have any questions? He's constantly wanting us to ask what our questions are about the fasting process, about how to eat when we leave here, about all kinds of health related questions. I mean, like, our sessions with him go super deep, and it's amazing. He's very experienced and very brilliant in this area of natural health, natural healing, how the body works, and so on. So I just had this idea to ask a funny question, because I'm usually the comedian in the group. And so as I was going into meditation with these lessons this morning, that thought came to mind. And the reason is because sometimes people are like so stuck in their funk, or their normal way of being, that humor seems obnoxious or offensive. And it's sad actually, because I remember many times throughout my military career. So I was in the Army for 20 years, and I served in all kinds of like very highly serious and very masculine situations. Like when you learn how to jump out of airplanes, there's a lot of like, okay, close your mouth and don't joke around right now moments, because you need to pay attention and learn and practice and all that. But I was always the comic relief, no matter where I was, my whole life basically, but especially in the Army and even here. People are really kind of in a suffering place here, some of them. And it's nice to be that person that people refer to as the shiny one, or the happy one, or the sunshine one. It's like, yeah, that's who I am. And I'm not forcing that. I just kind of like show up that way. So when I did this meditation, what came through to me was just like, stay light, lighten up. If you're one of those people that says things to others like, you're too happy, or, you're always joking, ask yourself, why would you let that come out of your mouth as if it's a criticism? And why would you think that? Like, what is wrong with people that seem to be really enjoying themselves? And why not derive some inspiration from those people? And if you're that person, bless you, because I know from experience it can feel like you're moving into, you know, territory that is confronting you just because of your disposition. But yet this Course in Miracles teaching is telling us this is our natural way of being. If we know the only problem we have is the separation of God from God, and we're working on that through the lessons, nothing else that's going on in our lives should weigh us down, should bother us when we're going about our day and like interacting with other people. We need to be the light. And so that means we need to lighten up, right? And so your happiness and your function are one. This is actually part of your forgiveness practice, I would say, is by, adjusting your attitude. And this is a choice. I think for me, it's become just like a way of being or a pattern. But for those of you who know that you're kind of like the Eeyore of the group, the Debbie Downer or whatever, adjust your attitude and be the one that sees the humor in it, or sees the light at least, and start from there, because we are actually doing something just by having a disposition of happiness. It may seem passive, it may seem awkward at times, but you're actually doing something, because you're showing people that it's possible to be light, to be bright, especially in situations where other people are not feeling that way at all. And maybe it's more socially acceptable to be like somber and, whatever. But who the hell cares about socially acceptable? We're here also to defy all of these laws, because remember, we're under no law but God's. I refer back to that lesson now in my mind many times, where Jesus specifically says, here are all these systems that you're basically beholden to, possibly even like worshiping as if they're an idol. and you're not living your function. You're not living your best life that God wants you to live, which is to be happy. So take that into your day today and have a happy day. If you need to make some adjustments and change, do it. See what happens. Who cares what people think? Who cares if you're going to walk in and be this unexpected brightness that you normally aren't? I mean, it's a gift. It's an absolute gift to shine for people and to show them that it's possible for you to be that way, and therefore for them to be that way as well. So I need a quick drink. So grateful. Let me tell you something. So at the end of 21 days, now it's actually 22, but we'll be consuming other than water in a few hours, but 21 days of just having water. You know, there are people here that they're not super sick, but they came here to get off coffee and to stop drinking alcohol. I've heard a lot of stories of people who drink a lot of alcohol. And to turn to this substance, knowing that my body, well, I mean, I guess I always knew this, but I'm really relearning that my body is mostly made of water, and I'm consuming this water, and it's actually hydrating me at the cellular level. It's rehydrating all the old waste that's inside my small intestines and putting it back into circulation, which is what has made me feel nauseous every night for a week for hours. This is a medicine. This is a magical medicine, and I am so grateful that I decided to do this and to go through this process and to learn the value of the simple things that I can turn to, like water and like quiet and just being present to things without my phone, without distractions, without doing anything, without, you know, chatting with people or whatever, but just being by myself, listening to nature and drinking water is like a major medicine for me right now. And I hope when I go back into the world where there are all those things more present, you know, those distractions are more in my environment, that I continue to choose this incredible ingredient in my life. And I really hope that I've influenced you at least to drink more water. And as I continue going through this process of eating again, I'll share with you those kind of things too, and maybe that'll influence you as well. But just this sense of being grateful for understanding what my body's made of, how it really works, and knowing also that there's this part of my mind that's actually in charge of all of this and, you know, enlivening all of this, because the body won't operate. When my spirit leaves the body's like, dunzo. But there is this part of my mind that is also the manager of all the thousands and hundreds of thousands of processes going on, even right now, right this second, inside of my body. Having an acknowledgement and awareness and a you know, an honoring of this has been such a huge gift of being here. So hopefully some of that is transmitting through to you, that you do have a possession that you've had your whole life that is really working for you, never leaves you, obviously, never goes against you, always trying to deal with whatever you're putting in and balance it out and accommodate it. So the thing is when you're drinking a lot of coffee or you're drinking a lot of alcohol, that's very, very dehydrating. And the body then has to compensate its water supply to make sure that your vital organs are operating properly first and foremost. And then whatever other systems prioritize below that, they have to be functioning at a certain level. So it's pulling water from all these other places when you're dehydrating yourself. Another thing that's dehydrating, according to Lauren, is processed foods. You know, anything that's got a lot of salt, a lot of sugar, and then also cooked foods. So when you cook foods, you're changing the chemistry, and the body has to go through a fair amount of work to digest those things. Now, I'm not suggesting that everybody has to become a raw eating person right now, today, but I definitely would suggest considering just look at what you're eating during the day. And do you think, just common sense, without even knowing or Googling everything in the world, is this hydrating me or is this taxing my body's water supply? I could just drink a lot more water. I could just try to add in some more fresh fruits and vegetables, which for the most part are pretty high water content compared to everything else, and maybe kind of start from there. But just having a consciousness around what your body might be experiencing and the load that you're putting on your body based on like whatever your diet is and things of that nature. So that's what's on my mind today. Be happy, lighten up, have a good time, pay attention to what you're putting in your body, and have a great day. And I can't wait to tell you about how today went tomorrow. Love you all so much. See you then.